Mark Zuckerberg's Threads already working with the federal government to censor Americans? Say it isn't so. Say it isn't so. This couldn't possibly be happening. Mark Zuckerberg? He's as American as apple pie. I don't understand. Oh, and their usage, daily active users have dropped from a peak of 45 million on July 6th to 28 million on July 13th. That's nearly 40% drop in users after just 1 week. The time spent per user also tanked from 20 minutes on July 7th to less than 5 minutes. That's a 75% reduction in usage in just 4 days. Who could have foreseen this? I just can't. I couldn't possibly have foreseen Threads failing. I don't get it. They haven't paid their giant farm of Pakistani bots apparently this week. The check didn't clear. The Committee on the Judiciary is conducting oversight of how and to what extent the executive branch has coerced and colluded with companies and other intermediaries to censor speech. In furtherance of this oversight, on February 15th, 2023, the committee issued a subpoena to Mark Zuckerberg, compelling the production of documentations related to the content moderation and Meta's engagement with the executive branch. In light of Meta's introduction of a new social media platform, Threads, we write to inform you that it is the committee's view that the subpoena of February 15th also covers materials to date relating to Threads. Since the committee's subpoena to Meta, we have obtained additional evidence that the federal government has coerced or colluded with technology, social media, and other companies to moderate content online. These examples reinforce the committee's serious concerns about whether the executive branch is engaging in censorship by proxy. They are. Using surrogates to censor or suppress. They are. Or discourage speech in a manner that the government is unable to do itself. They do. In fact, on July 4th, 2023, a federal court held that the government's collusion with coercion of social media platforms to censor disfavored speech appeared to have violated the plaintiff's First Amendment rights and issued a preliminary injunction against government defendants. The court recognized that Meta played a central role in this censorship scheme, frequently acquiescing and catering to the government's requests and demands. Congress has an important interest in protecting and advancing fundamental free speech principles. To develop effective legislation such as the possible enactment of new statutory limits on the executive branch's ability to work with technology companies to restrict the circulation of content and deplatform users. The Committee on the Judiciary must first understand how and to what extent the executive branch coerced and colluded with companies and other intermediaries to censor speech. Given that Meta has censored First Amendment protected speech as a result of government agencies' requests and demands in the past, the committee is concerned about potential First Amendment violations that have occurred or will occur on Threads. Indeed, Threads raises serious, specific concerns. It has been marketed as a rival of Elon Musk's Twitter, which has faced political persecution from the Biden administration following Musk's commitment to free speech. In contrast, there are reports that Threads will enforce Instagram's community guidelines, which result in lawful speech being moderated following pressure by the government. Despite launching only 12 days ago, there are already reports that Thread is engaging in censorship, including censoring users, but offers no grounds for appeal. The committee's February 15th subpoena to Meta requires, among other things, the production of material concerning Meta's engagement with the executive branch and Meta's discussions and policies requiring content moderation. This is happening Like, it's moving slowly, but it's happening. Like, people are going to get in trouble, hopefully. And, this flies in the face of Section 230 protections, right? Like, Section 230 is all about, hey, if you're acting like a publisher, if you're just a platform, if you're not engaging in, censorship, you're not artificially editorializing things, you're free, you're protected from getting sued if somebody uploads a heinous video or something like that. However, when you're a publisher, this means that you create content, you are not protected by Section 230. And in my opinion, and in many other people's opinions, censoring people based on government demands, having things like shadow banning, blacklisting, deboosting for people who have inconvenient speech or opinions, this is acting like a publisher, which means they are not, again, protected by Section 230 and should be subject to widespread lawsuits. This, again, on top of some interesting data. So, as I mentioned earlier, daily active users on Threads have dropped from a peak of 45 million when it was launched on July 26th to 28 million on July 13th. That's approximately 38% lower, call it 40. During the same period, Twitter metrics remained virtually unchanged. The exodus many feared yet again did not materialize. Well, no kidding. I said that too. Nobody was leaving Twitter for Threads. They were just going to Threads because it was new and hot, and then it was boring. Time spent per user has tanked from 20 minutes on July 7th to only 5 minutes. That's a 75% reduction in just 4 days. On Friday, I tweeted, on Tuesday and Wednesdays, the app's daily active users metric, the metric that matters, were down 20% from Saturday, and time spent was down 50% from 20 minutes to 10 minutes. These numbers were concerning for Meta at the time, and today things have gotten a lot worse. This is getting embarrassing for Meta, as their app is fast becoming a background download that hardly anyone uses. This is the exact concern many people voiced. Some of Instagram's 2.3 billion users will download the app, but no one will use it. I stand by what I think are the main reasons for Meta ad flopping. 1, censorship. That's wrong. There's a lot of people that want to be censor me harder daddy. I don't think censorship is why Threads failed. Premature app launch is far more of a likely reason. The app's experience is very bare bones version of Twitter with limited functionality, limited features, and in my opinion, a very meh experience. Well, Mario, you would know about bots, so I don't know. A bridge for Instagram users to join Twitter. I predicted that Instagram users who downloaded the app and actually enjoyed it will migrate to the real thing, and that's Twitter. I disagree with that as well. I think most Instagram users are already on Twitter. However, I don't think point 1 even had time to materialize. Okay, the censorship thing, right? Because due to point 2, he's correct about that. It's too early to assess my third prediction. However, I doubt we'll have to wait long. Interesting to see in the chart below, Instagram's daily active users even dropped slightly when Twitter remained unchanged. To me, Meta's failure shows how sticky Twitter is and the strength of the platform's community. It's a bullish sign in everything that Elon and the team work on, expanding the ecosystem into X, the everything app. Yeah, I mean, if it actually does everything well, it'll be the first thing to ever do that. There's a lot of when you're talking about doing a lot of different features, are you going to be the best at all of them? No, but it's got to at least be pretty good. I mean, the idea of paying creators and videos and things of that nature on Twitter, we'll see if that even rolls out. Everything I read is they don't have any money to be giving away. It's really going to come down to whether or not the big advertisers return. Christmas season's coming up in August, and that's when a lot of people are going to say, the rubber's going to meet the road. They're going to have to decide if they want to continue to boycott billions of people or hundreds of millions of active users and let their business suffer, or if they want to get on board and advertise their products. I mean, you look at Twitter. I mean, what's wild is Instagram's people spend a lot more time on Instagram. A lot. But you have, Twitter and Threads and Instagram's way up. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think that Threads, I knew that Threads wasn't going to stick because people love to fight. People don't actually want a kinder, nicer place. The fact that, and by the way, the fact that Elon rolled out the money, I'm sure he wasn't ready to do that, but it was like an easy action for him to basically pull all the wind out of the sails of Threads in one foul swoop. It's going to be interesting to see just how long Threads lasts. I'm sure it'll always exist, but it definitely is not the Twitter killer. And people, in my experience, give new apps, very little leeway. They try it out once or twice, and then they move on. And that looks like exactly what's happening to Threads.